Robyn Wyman. Well, welcome back to the program. How are you?
I'm well, Rick. How about you today?
I'm doing well, and thank you again for taking the time, as you always do, to join us. I know we've got some things on tap that you want to talk about today, but before we jump into those, why don't we just give everybody a little background on you and what you do as a life transition healer and owner of the Circle of Life Center?
Of course. So what I do is I help and support people who are going through very challenging transitions, and I specifically focus with people at the beginning of life, end of life, and grief. So beginning of life would be women who are pregnant or new mummies who are struggling emotionally and physically, and they just need encouragement and to know they're doing okay and just support. So, that's my one end of my business. And the other is people coming to the end of their life, their families, and people who are grieving the death of a loved one. And it seems like I'm tending to focus more on grief, people who are grieving. I'm not sure why that is, but that's what I do. And I support people using a holistic platform, which includes natural remedies, talk, and I teach people, I use energy modalities, and I teach them different energy techniques to support them.
All right. And you mentioned helping people deal with end of life. Let me take a stab at this here, Robyn.
Okay.
I think you're dealing with that more because people know how to deal with it less.
I do too.
Yeah.
I think we avoid it. I've talked about this a lot when I go and I'm out networking and I share what I do. I'm not the sexy person that everybody wants to run to. I'm not ready. I'm not ready. That's what I hear a lot. But then inevitably someone will come and find me and share a story. And often it's how they're still struggling or they're going through this and how difficult it is. And I think it's something that we don't really want to talk about. And we sweep it under the rug, and the more I talk about it, I think it's just opening that door and letting people just express how they're going through it and the difficulties of it, because it's challenging.
Yeah.
The birth and death are huge in our life,
and it's scary. Everybody's like, "Well, birth should be great," but it's still pretty scary there.
It's a change. I shared last week. I was chatting with a client, and she was sharing that, she was very involved in her business and her career, and the baby came and she wasn't sleeping. This is a year out, and she just had a really hard first year. And she said, I was grieving my old life, but I didn't share that with anyone because I have a baby and life's happy and it's supposed to be all of this. So these are little secrets that we don't want to talk about. And the more we can just uncover them and share and talk about it, the more comfortable people will become with it.
Right.
That's my thoughts on it. And I see it in other cultures. So,
and again, it's nice to have that option, when you're dealing with something as traumatic as a passing, as a death. And again, our culture is very, very, I think the proper phrase I'm looking for is we're scared of it.
I think we're like kindergarten kids with it. We just don't. That's where we are on our level.
Right.
We don't have maturity around it.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I don't see that changing much. But hopefully, with the work that you're doing, you're introducing people to the fact that this can happen, but there can be some things that can come out of it that you can kind of move forward with.
Well, I'm here to be a change maker around this. So I'm just writing that down as we're talking. I think I'll write something about that.
All right. Well, that's good to know.
Okay.
Hey, now you wanted to talk about the importance of grounding today. And before we do that, let me just remind people that the phone number is 631-656-5434. If you do have a question for our guest, Robyn Wyman, feel free to give us a call. She's here for the next 25 minutes, so take advantage of it. Now, what do you mean by the word grounding? I hear this word thrown around a lot lately.
Okay, so grounding is, I just want to go back for 2 seconds because a couple of weeks ago we were talking about what is energy, and then last week I talked about the chakras. So I'm going to add an aspect of the energetic aspect of grounding, but also some practical tips also for people today.
Okay.
But grounding is when it's when you're in a situation and you're not feeling connected. Most people spend most of their time in their mind, and we're thinking, and we forget our body's communicating with us all the time.
Right.
So ways people can tell they're not grounded, I think we should start there, is you're constantly looping in your thoughts or your mind, and you can't quite quiet the mind. It's like a monkey mind, going and going and going. You know, you're sad all the time, so you're also so I'm going to relate it to people who are new moms or end of life. So you're overwhelmed, maybe. You could be feeling sad. There's a lot of stress in your life. There's anxiety. You're not sleeping. That's another sign. You're having difficulty sleeping. Uh-huh. You know, when you walk into a room and you go, I don't even know why I'm in here. So that means you're up in your mind again. You're not grounded in your body. Right. You maybe forget, last week I made 2 appointments to meet people, separate people, within 15 minutes of each other. And I went, oh, you weren't grounded when you did that. Right. So just getting too busy in your life. And then we all know people that seem a little bit ditzy. They're a little bit airy. We might say they're airy. Mm. Those people tend to not be grounded. And I'm sure everybody can think of somebody that you think's a little ditzy in our life that we know. So that tends to be signs that we're not grounded in. And grounding's being about being connected in your body and to the earth, like it's an earth element. And that also people are starting to call grounding earthing. That's a new term that's coming out.
What's it called?
So it's
earthing?
Getting balanced. It's called earthing. Earthing.
Okay.
So it's getting balanced. So you're just not always in your mind. So I'll just give you a few practical things. One is get more sleep. Mm-hmm. You know, go out into nature and go for a walk. You know, and also start exercising. Because you know how when you're exercising, your heart rate gets going, you start to focus on your breath. So you're coming back into the body and you're noticing things. So you might notice, oh, my leg's a bit tired, or that aches a little bit. So you're going to notice what's going on in your body. You know, I always suggest people spending time in their garden. I mean, we're going into fall and winter now, but even tending to plants in your home or buying flowers and just enjoying their beauty, and also eating root vegetables. So root vegetables are anything that grows underground, like potatoes and onions and carrots, radishes. All those things help ground you. Okay. Drink more water. And the last one I want to share is drink a bit more coffee. But this is a bit tricky because coffee is a stimulant, so they can drink too much coffee. Right. So you have to maybe just have a cup. And this is, again, where awareness comes in, and you just go, okay, how am I feeling? What's going on? This is about you asking yourself questions and being curious.
Okay. All right. Well, you know what? So now, let me ask you this. So when you're working with someone, how do you get them to do this? Because it's tough. You know, you mentioned the monkey mind. I think I'm guilty of that. I'm always thinking of something. I'll wake up in the middle of the night and be like, oh, I got to remember that. And all of a sudden my mind will just start racing again and start going and going. And it takes me a while to go back to sleep.
Right, because we're so busy in our days. We're overstressed. Right. We live a frenetic lifestyle in the West because we've got so much stimulation. So for people, when I work with people, I work with them in all levels. So this is a teaching. It's a practice. So, you know, I'll talk to them about their physical health, and that's where we'll talk about, you know, are you getting exercise? Are you doing, are you eating good quality foods? Right. Are you drinking a lot of water? How's your sleep patterns? And then I'll work with them to using the herbs and energetic practices. So let me just go into a segue now. So I'm going to share an energetic practice of grounding. So I'm going to just start by saying, your mind may go, this is stupid, I want to do this, like how we think. That doesn't work. So I'm just asking people to just, when I work with them, I just say, come with an open mind. Have an open mind like a child, because kids love doing these things. So the first is to have an intention that you're going to get grounded. And I do this practice every morning with myself, sometimes a couple of times a day. Depends if I'm feeling how my day is going for me. Right. So my intention is I'm going to be connected to the earth and feel grounded and balanced and in ease today. So I just put my feet firmly on the floor. You can sit and do this, or you can stand. And I want you to just rock into your feet. If people want to do it, they can, but I'm just explaining it. And just rock gently back, from your heels to your toes and back and forth, so you're feeling that connection. Right. And then I want you to just visualize your root chakra. And if you didn't hear last week or you don't remember, it's at the root, at the base of your spine. Okay, so I want you to just
So
visualize that. Close your eyes and visualize that,
Okay.
and then visualize a tube of light. And I don't care what color it is. You may not have a color, or it could be red, green. It doesn't matter because it's for you. And I want you to take that tube and drop it from your root
Okay.
and feel that connection. And I just want, it's like we're anchoring to the earth. Like think of a ship's anchor. You could even visualize that if you wanted to.
Right.
And it just
now,
helps us stay connected.
Can I ask you this? Is
And
it
then
easier? Is
you're
it
gonna
easier
want
to
to
do
just
something
notice.
like this? Robyn, is
Go
it
ahead.
easy? Is it easier to do something like this with your shoes off?
Sorry?
With your, if you take your shoes off, so your feet are, kind of against the rug or against
I
the
think
floor.
it's better if you have your shoes off.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And you could do it even at work. You could just sit. Nobody has to know. You just slide your shoes off and close your eyes for a minute.
Yeah,
And just focus on your breath and just go there.
Unless you have smelly feet.
And you
they
could go
gotta
into the
know.
bathroom if you wanted. You can. You're breaking up, Rick.
Oh, I'm sorry. I said, you could take your shoes off at work, but they might figure that out. Like, ugh, somebody took their shoes off.
Well, it doesn't take, it takes 30 seconds.
Right.
And it's the intention that you're feeling grounded.
Right.
So it's just that connection to the earth. And then over time, you want to notice, am I feeling connected? Maybe I'll ground. Oh, I didn't have enough water.
Right.
I need to eat some root vegetables. And I just wanted to share for a grounding tea would be, a good tea to drink would be Tulsi. And it's Tulsi. And it's also known as holy basil. And you could probably get that at like Whole Foods or Amazon, and I buy an organic tea though. So you drink Tulsi, and then essential oils. There's two I want to suggest today would be cedarwood and frankincense. So you could diffuse those two in your home. I don't know if you can always diffuse them in the office, but you could just put a drop on a Kleenex and take that to work with you too. So you could smell that as you're visualizing your body grounding to the earth. I always like to layer all different techniques with people.
Okay.
Helps strengthen it.
Right. So let's see if I can
Okay.
punch this one up now. Caller, are you there?
Hey guys, how are you?
Oh, good.
Good, thanks.
All right. Doing well. Okay, who's this?
I'm Robert.
All right, Robert. Say hello to Robyn.
Hey Robyn, how are you?
I'm well, Robert. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. So I have a question. I want to know, what is the most efficient way to gain balance in one's life? So particularly myself, I'm trying to gain balance here. I feel like I'm a little off, so I thought I might get some advice by calling in today.
Okay, so there's a lot of aspects to that. That question's pretty layered, Robert, but I'm just going to say, firstly, do you sleep well?
No. Being completely honest, I'm not sleeping well.
So if you're not sleeping well, think about it day after day. Every day you miss an hour of sleep, or say you sleep 6 hours instead of 7 or 4 hours, it builds. So you're missing an hour, you're missing 2 hours, you're missing 3 hours. That's going to affect your life. So sleep is huge. Sleep is huge. And how is your nutrition? Like, do you eat well? Do you eat a lot of fruits and vegetables? Do you eat pretty clean?
Yes, I actually just transitioned to eating cleaner. I took pork out the diet. I'm eating a lot more fruits. Vegetables was an everyday thing for me in all my meals, but I was liking fruits. Now I'm snacking on a lot more fruits. And see, with the thing about me with sleep is it's not the hours per se. It's just I just transitioned from I left home and I'm sleeping in new home pretty much, not my bed that I'm used to. And that's my area per se where I think I'm pretty much adjusting to that. So that's my area where I think my problems with sleep is. I do a lot of tossing and turning, a lot of thinking at night. So I do get the, 7 hours, 8 hours, but it's just not, comfortable sleep per se.
It's fitful, right? Fitful?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm talking about grounding. And you're not grounded in the space you're living in yet then.
Right.
So you want to make it yours and ground in there. So things that you can do is, I would say, drink a lot more water And you could also do that exercise and ground yourself into where your new home is. It's really important. We tend to just live up in our minds, and we're not connected. And also go out and spend some time in nature around the area you're in, and get familiar with the local, like the shops and wherever you are. Like, make it feel more comfortable because it's new. Because it's new, your mind's a little bit off kilter because it's not the regular patterns of, this is the route I went home, and this is where I slept. You said you're in a different bed. All these things are change. It's all change, and it mixes us up for a little bit. So definitely ground into the place you're living. And do that technique, that energetic technique, just dropping in and saying, this is where I live. I'm here. I'm grounded in this space now. We're really powerful. So that would be ground. And then maybe you need to do some journaling. I'm a big person for journaling and getting clients to journal and journaling what's going on. When we wake up at night and we can't shut our mind off, sometimes if we get up and just write it down, it's out. It's out of our mind and it's on paper. And then we can go back to sleep. And I would suggest also lavender essential oil is very calming and soothing for people who have trouble with sleep. And it's gentle. It's a good starting place oil. And also that tea I suggested, Tulsi, Tulsi. And it's also known as holy basil. Tulsi. And it's also known as holy basil. And drink that before you go to bed at night. And start at that starting point. I could give you tons more things, but it's going to be overwhelming.
Right.
It's one change a week, and then another change in the week, and then another change in the third week. It's all the little things that build. And then if you do journal, if you choose to journal, that way you can notice, you go, oh, I'm just sleeping better. Oh, I'm feeling better. It's really subtle. And then the little changes make the big changes.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
so
that's the
area. So I hope that helps you with it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it would. I think if I do follow these steps, I think that'll definitely balance things out. Thank you so much, Robyn.
Sure.
Appreciate
Call back again. Yeah.
Oh,
Good
I
luck
will.
to you.
Thank you.
And
Thank
congratulations
you
on your new home.
Oh, appreciate that. Thank you so much.
All right. Well, thank you for the call. We appreciate that. Hey, real quick, Robyn, with something like that, when you are, that's kind of a big thing. You're uprooted. You're in a new space. You're trying to get adjusted. Is that almost like I want to say, what new moms go through? It's almost like a nesting thing where you got to make it yours. You got to go around and start changing. You know what I mean?
Well, they do. Women, they say it's nesting, so they'll like clean the whole house up, right, and create everything for the baby, and just getting everything ready for the baby, and that's change again. Sometimes people have to move because their place isn't big enough, right?
Right.
When they're bringing a child in. And the same with someone who's grieving. Just think of lifelong partners who've slept together their whole life, and then all of a sudden there's nobody in the bed beside you.
Yeah, that's got to be difficult. Oh man,
very,
think of
very
that.
strange, right? To roll over and your loved one isn't there. Then you wake up, then the mind starts, right? And then they're gone.
They're still
now.
not there. It's not like that they stayed out overnight at a friend's or something like that, or they're visiting relatives. They're still not there.
Right.
Now
they're just gone.
What about when you're presented with that situation? You're the one that's left behind out of a couple, right? And is there, because I know there's one of those things where, you have to get rid of their stuff eventually, right? Is there a wrong time to do that?
That's really individual for people. Some people want everything gone right away.
Right.
And other people want to hold on to everything for a while. And some people will hold on to certain things. It's so individual, and it's hard for me to give a time for anyone, because when I meet people, it's everybody's individual. It's although we have it's universal. Grief is universal. Everybody has their own experience. We're different.
Yeah, that's true. All right,
so it's hard to just say, 6 months gone. It's we see. As people in our life, that's why we struggle with end of life and grief, because it's inconvenient, right? We want it sorted out and put it in a nice little box, tied up, okay, finished.
Right.
Doesn't work that way.
Good point. Hey, we do have another caller. Caller, you there?
Okay.
Yes, I am.
Hey, what's your name?
My name is Jonathan.
Hey, Jonathan.
Hi, Jonathan.
How are you today?
I'm
calling from Detroit, Michigan. And can a death doula help someone deal with a previous loss?
I'm sorry, I didn't follow what you just said.
Okay. Can you help someone deal with a previous loss? Like, for instance, my uncle passed away, and I actually was the person who told them to take him off of life support. So I'm just wondering, like if I did the right thing. We didn't have any unresolved issues or anything, but I don't know. I caught the tail end of this, and I don't know if this really fits what you do, but that's always on my mind. I just wanted to know if you can help someone deal with a previous loss.
Yes, I work a lot with grief. So I work with people. I support people who are grieving, and it's a lot of people have unresolved issues or situations come up. Making a decision to take someone off of life support is a massive decision, Jonathan, and you're going to be thinking about it. If you wouldn't be human if you didn't, but and you're going to be reflecting but don't beat yourself up. And it's easy for me to say don't beat yourself up, but you did what you could with what you knew and what the doctors advised you, and how you saw your. I think you said it was your uncle. I'm not sure though.
Yeah,
I have trouble hearing. So, and years ago, people would have passed in a more natural way. They would have got sick, and it would have been a more natural and run its course. But in today's modern medicine, we keep people alive for a lot longer than this is my personal viewpoint on it, than is healthy for them. And everybody deserves to die with dignity and respect. So you don't want your uncle to have suffered on life support for how long would he? That could have gone on for a long time. And who does that serve, right?
Yeah, he actually was in a coma, and the doctors, had him on life support, and they said he's very unresponsive, and basically he was dead. And
right.
So even I always think about that miracle person that wakes up from a coma after the doctors say there's no hope, and then he gets up and walks out of the hospital, storybook type fantasy. But then, in the back of my mind, I thought about the quality of life if he was to actually survive it. Is that the way he would want to live? So I decided.
And you did the best decision. You made the best decision that you could.
Right.
And that's coming to peace with making that decision.
Right.
So I know sorry?
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I think you're going. It's natural to question that. That is something of something you're going to wonder and question with, and you could work with someone through that to help process yourself. You're just processing through that decision. That's what's going on for you, and the loss of your uncle.
Yes.
And having that having to make that decision it's a big deal.
Yeah. I still wonder, like I said, if I did the right thing. Deep down inside, I know that I did, but I always second guess. So that's why I was just throwing this out there over the airwaves. And I thank you for your help.
You're welcome. And if you know you made the right decision, you made the right decision. Trust your instincts. Trust your gut.
Great.
Take care, Jonathan.
Have a wonderful day. All right,
and if you didn't second guess yourself, you probably wouldn't be normal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
mean, stuff like that is very difficult to sometimes wrap your head around.
It is. It's traumatic.
Yep.
It's trauma. Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
5. And as always, Robyn, thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome, Rick.
All right. Well,
thank you.
You have a great week. Until next time, I'll talk to you then.
Okie doke. Bye-bye.